great information about some of the programs that the IDA offers, and we sincerely thank you for that. I'd like to switch gears a little bit and talk with you about some of the businesses on Long Island. From your viewpoint, what is the top growing businesses in Long Island? What's the category that's the top growing businesses?
Sure. So healthcare by far is the largest employer on Long Island. Northwell Health used to be North Shore LIJ, and they rebranded into Northwell. They hire approximately 200 employees a week. Now, their operations span New York City and Staten Island and Westchester, but the majority of their employees are housed on Long Island. So their healthcare is the largest sector. Northwell Health, probably the largest non-government employer on Long Island. But there are a lot of hidden gems in Nassau County. A lot of people think that after Grumman left, that the aerospace and defense contracting industry left with it. That's not necessarily the case. There are many manufacturers that specialize in defense and aerospace work. In addition, the food and beverage sector is really a growth area for Long Island, and we're working now on creating some synergies between the agro-tourism industry in Suffolk County with some of the food producers and manufacturers in Nassau County, trying to create a more comprehensive ecosystem within the food economy. I'll give you a great anecdote about a business we recently helped that's in that food and beverage space. We're seeing as a trend a lot of businesses in New York City, they're faced with a decision. Do I stay in the city? Do I move to New Jersey? Or do I come to Long Island?
Right.
And thankfully, they're thinking about Long Island, and when they do, we're able to meet with them and try to convince them that Long Island is the place for them to relocate to. So we worked with this company called Bagels by Bell. They are the largest Bialy manufacturer in the world. Now, it's an interesting note about the Bialy. I don't know if you're Bialy eaters out there in the audience, but
come on, it's Long Island, of course.
Of course. But so if you go to your local bagel store, more likely than not, they're buying their Bialys from this Bialy manufacturer because they're so difficult to make. You can't automate it. They have to be handmade. So we worked with this business, the largest Bialy manufacturer in the world, and we helped them relocate from Brooklyn to Oceanside. We provided tax assistance. We worked with New York State, and New York State contributed a $400,000 grant. And probably most importantly, when National Grid got involved in the project, they realized there wasn't enough gas service to fuel the bakery, the ovens, to bake all these bagels. So National Grid came in, went into their own pocket, and expanded service so that this bakery could produce the bagels they needed to on Long Island. So it's a great example of all the different stakeholders that I mentioned working together to provide a package of assistance for this company. So they came out here, and now they need to hire people. So what we ask for in return for doing all of this, because there is a flip side, we want jobs and capital investment.
Okay.
Jobs and capital investment. And Bagels by Bell, they're now in the process of hiring between 10 and 20 new employees. Some of their folks came with them from Brooklyn, of course. Others didn't. And so now we're working aggressively with my colleagues in the county to find them qualified employees.
That's fantastic. Great work. Great work. That's a true success story. I mean, post-Sandy, relocation to Nassau County, building jobs, giving back to the community. And again, in Oceanside, especially after Hurricane Sandy, and everything that entire community dealt with. So kudos.
In fact, the building they just purchased and are now operating out of was heavily affected by Sandy and has been vacant since the storm.
Wow. That's tremendous. So support Bagels by Bell. They're not a sponsor, but we are a donor. But success stories and giving back to the community, and again, building jobs and investing in the community is such a long way for the entrepreneur and small business person. So, again, kudos.
Thank you.
You deal with a lot of entrepreneurs, certainly, in your line of work, and obviously you create a lot of programs to meet their needs. What's your definition of the ultimate entrepreneur?
Ray, it's a great question. You cannot be risk averse, and you need to have patience. I think those are two key characteristics for a successful entrepreneur. A lot of folks have these great ideas, but they have a great idea every other day.
Right.
You need to have one and really stick with it. And you also have to be able to make some personal sacrifices to see your business through. And that may mean taking out a second mortgage. It may mean some real personal sacrifices. But I've found in my experience, entrepreneurs that have both of those characteristics are the ones that are successful.
Yeah, entrepreneurship is definitely a marathon, not a sprint, right? You're not going to get there. So, again, great work on your end.
Now, for some of the businesses that you've spoken about, again, some very creative solutions in terms of the programs that you offer. Long Island is known also, you mentioned Grumman before. I mean, obviously, we're known for innovation. How would you suggest some of the businesses in Long Island use and foster innovation?
Well, I think the real connection has to be, and what I found, for new economies and for innovation to emerge, there's really three major components that need to be able to work well together. And that's higher education, the public sector, and the private sector. And I can give a quick anecdote on that. We work with another one of your colleagues, NYIT, and they're trying to develop a cybersecurity program. And so they have an incubator on campus that the state helped fund. Through relationships that my agency has, we were able to help get them an NSA clearance level so they could perform research on behalf of the federal government.
Oh, that's awesome.
So you have an educational institution, you have government agencies that are helping with them, and then, of course, you have private sector innovators and businesses who are locating on this campus to take advantage of both the faculty and the students and also this government clearance that we're able to help provide for them. So those are the three components that I think are really necessary to fuel innovation in this economy.
That's fantastic collaboration. You are listening to Tower Talk Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHBC. My name is Ray Schwetz, along with
Donyshia Boston Hill.
And our guest today is Nicholas Terzulli, Esquire, Director of Business Development at the Nassau County Industrial Development Agency. Now, Nick, wanted to ask you, for entrepreneurs, for business owners, what are the top three tips that you give them? I mean, you've given us a lot of information about the programs available. You've given us a lot of information about some of the innovation, the collaboration. What are three tips that you could give us for entrepreneurs?
Well, I think the first step is, work with us. Don't be afraid to come to Nassau County for help. We host a monthly Inventors and Entrepreneurs Club where we invite folks at various stages of the invention and entrepreneurship process to come and socialize and network. We provide guest speakers and guidance for these folks. I guess the second one would be you can never do too much research. If you have an idea, doing a Google search is not sufficient. I would suggest doing intellectual property search to make sure that someone else doesn't have the patent on your idea. Intellectual property is really important for business owners. And I would think that they need to spend maybe some more time on that. Sometimes they're so excited to go with their idea, they don't spend enough time making sure they protect themselves. And lastly, you have to believe in the idea 100%, like I referenced earlier. Right. You can't go at it part-time. You really need to be invested emotionally, intellectually, and oftentimes financially.
Have that one idea and really focus on it.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Definitely. I would say, Nick, if you can just share with us, what do you believe are the keys to most effectively growing business in Nassau County? I'm the small business owner, you're driving the Pinto, and you ultimately want to grow fast, and we know that takes some time. But can you just share what you shared your tips?
Sure.
But truly, what are the keys? Are they calling you, contacting your office? They're sticking to the plan? They're signing up for professional development? What would you suggest?
I think the people are key to businesses developing. Surround yourself with a good team. Hire great people. And that's one thing that when I was discussing before how we stay competitive with some of these other states, businesses that have actively shopped in these other locations come back and say, Nick, we can't find the quality of workers We can't find people who are as dedicated and who work as hard as people from Nassau County.
It's because they eat the quality bagels and bialys.
That's right.
Now, when economies are changing, how does a business owner utilize the services of the Nassau County IDA to catapult growth?
So, a lot of what we do, aside from giving incentives, is we help facilitate conversations, and we have such a vast network and database of businesses and manufacturers and service providers to those businesses. So we often can put people in touch with one another to help them and see if there's ways for them to move forward. Just an interesting fact, the industrial market, a lot of what we do is property driven. So we work with real estate brokers quite a bit and have a pretty good handle on the real estate market. But currently in Nassau County, it's very difficult to find any industrial space. So much so that light industrial commercial users are looking to convert office space into industrial space. And we have programs for that. What we try to explain to businesses, we can't be the tail that wags the dog. If you come to us and say, Nick, these are the things that we want to do, we'll help you get there. Right. But if business comes to me and says, Nick, I'll do anything, what's going to give me the most incentives? That's not a conversation I like to have, because that person's not really going to stick with what they are saying anyway, and that business is not going to be successful. And I tell folks, what's the best decision for your business and your family, and we'll work alongside that. But it can't be the other way around.
So are you suggesting that those business owners create their 3 to 5 year growth plan, and then come to you, and then you will assess and help them and guide them and give them direction?
So my suggestion is come to me before you even draft that plan.
Perfect.
If you need to find employees, we can help you find employees. If you need help with your business plan, there are organizations that help businesses and entrepreneurs write their business plans. We can really help you every step of the way. But we can only help if you call. We're limited. We're a staff of 4 people, and we cover a lot of territory.
What phone number can they call?
Sure, 516-571-1945.
And your website?
Website is nassauida.org.
Fantastic.
Nick, we'd like to thank you. We'd like to thank our guest, Nicholas Terzulli, Esquire, Director of Business Development at the Nassau County Industrial Development Agency. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, guys.
And for Tara Talk Business Radio, my name is Ray Schwetz, along with
Donyshia Boston Hill.
Stay connected on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook at 90.3 WHPC, available as a podcast on iTunes, Android, Podcasts, and Spreaker, coming soon. This has been Tara Talk Radio, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
The opinions expressed on air are not necessarily those of WHPC, its management, or Nassau Community College.
Responsible opposing viewpoints will be considered by emailing them to whpc@ncc.edu or by mail to WHPC 1 Education Drive, Garden City, New York, 11530.
Thanks for listening to the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Hi, I'm Rob Leonard. Join me for the Free-For-All every Sunday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. The Free-For-All is a free-form mix of rock and roll. If you remember, rock radio used to mix it up, but now they just play Hotel California every 18 hours. It's not a law, but they're working on it. So join me for the Free-For-All every Sunday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Replays every Saturday morning, 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. right here on 90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College, streaming at ncc.edu/WHPC.
Smile.
Are you telling the microphone to smile so you could take a picture of it?
Yeah. So, which side do you think is its good side?
It's just a microphone.
I know, it's a microphone. Perfect. I think I'll put the Lark filter on it.
Why did you take a picture of the microphone, and who cares what filter you're going to use?
You'd care if you followed 903 WHPC on Instagram.
Oh, Instagram. Wait, I want to go viral. Take a picture of me. Get my good side and use that Lark filter.
Follow 903 WHPC on Instagram and join the conversation from the voice of Nassau Community College.
I said get my good side. Delete that.
Oh.
That's